Well, it's amazing how the internet is just changing the whole language. If you search Ripple, if you'd searched Ripple a year ago, you would have got that image on the right. Search Ripple today, and as you can see, the number one image is the fidgeter. And something here from CoinMarketCap. And this actually is also related to Ripple. So Ripple's just taken over the search of the word Ripple. There are a few other things to do with this, just showing you the synchronicity in the media. And there's a channel called Brother Sanchez. He's a very thought-provoking channel, I must say. He does have a few of those power conferences, and I'm not into them. But, I mean, there are some things on his channel he talks about that I think have some merit. But strange enough, he's just done a video today on ripple effect. And you look around, and in the financial news around and different things, Ripple has been such a buzzword because it apparently went up quite a bit in recent days. And, of course, Ripple is linked to Google, and no surprises with the LE, is there? The double P for 77 and the RI for the royal idea. It may well be the royal coin, and certainly that bit of an Irish three-leaf clover link. Yes, just came across. I haven't watched the whole video, only the introduction there, as you can see. I don't know what he's on about.
Is real. So the Egyptian deity known as Set is also equivalent to Satan or Saturn, and we'll get deep into this, showing you why this is important in a minute. In this lowercase I, you can see that the dot hovering above it is that one all-seeing eye that's always open, that CBS is showing you. And if you look to the left of this ripple effect.
Yes, the ripple effect. It really certainly has been a buzzword, and there's a movie, King Ripple, from just a few years ago. So this comes as the old mighty Bitcoin, and I said that to people a few years ago. I said, you know, this thing sounds like it's just money in the air, and at any stage the media can just hound it to death, and the next thing will be worth 5 cents. So I'd be very wary of something like this, a great big Ponzi scheme. But in a sense, this is useful technology, of course, and it will be the future, whether we like it or not. It's just people were worried about paper money. Now you've got money as a code in a computer. I can't see, actually, that there's much difference. At least the code in a computer, you can't lose it down the drain, as it were, that easy. But, of course, it can go down in other ways. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's certain in this world, there's no doubt about it. And this is certainly here now, whether you like it or not. And soon all shops and everywhere are going to have these things. But I just wonder whether the originator, Bitcoin, will survive. It is the birth coin. Bit is the birth. And just looking up Beth, and I came across a very interesting story about Lord here. Scheduling a concert in Israel. The boycott, divestment, sanctions movement. Oh look, BDSM. You've got to be kidding you, haven't you? Oh, I thought there was something funny about that. Here she is. Bet or Vet. And it's the house of El. Bethel. There's one here that says that somewhere. There you go, House of El. Bethlehem, House of Bread, of course. Bake us the bread we need to be fed. Mary. It's an old hymn they used to sing. But yeah, Bitcoin, Bethcoin. The birthing coin. But whether it's the long-standing one, that is another matter. Big competition, of course, coming in now. What was the only one, really, the only one that people knew. Now that they've opened the book and looked into it, they see that there's a whole fleet. It reminds me of the Melbourne Cup. Yes, in the old Melbourne Cup, we often have one of these horses here leading and sometimes by 4 or 5 lengths and further. And people think, God, that horse just has to win. Look how far in front it is. And they come around this corner here, and all of these outside runners just come bolting on and mow it down, and then it ends up back here with Mr. Purple is. And the people who got the money on that horse are all excited for a while, but actually anyone who knows if their horse is out well in front in the Melbourne Cup, very few horses have ever been able to lead and from start to finish. It has happened, but it's pretty rare. Usually you go, oh no, my horse is the runner, as it were, to get them all running on, and it will lose its legs and the others will swamp it. And this is what could be happening. And you think of Julius Caesar and how he was at the height of his power. Of course, it's just a play, a Shakespeare play. I don't believe in any real Julius Caesar myself personally. You may. But you know the idea of the story. Before the fall, pride before the fall idea is the man at the top, and then suddenly all the others, et tu, Brute, come and put the knife in. And so as Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin and Ripple got the big knife out for Bitcoin. But funny enough, all this negative press for Bitcoin, and it sent it spiralling, or sent it at least sideways, which is a big thing with it, because people are used to it just going up, up and up. And certainly money has gone out of it, and its market's looking like it's going to slip further. So that'll probably be the big news of Christmas if it does happen. But by the same token, as it were, there are now stories appearing that are painting Bitcoin in a nice light again after 2 or 3 days of bash, bash, bash. So maybe they're endeavouring to swing the public back into it. Whatever, these things and nearly everything is controlled by the media and its little mind control system, and most people are unaware of that in their lives, even though they're part of it. They just think, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Now this one is green, as you can see, and this one's orange is the new black. And actually, these are both Bitcoin Cash, but they seem to be going more to green than the orange, which of course the orange is Bitcoin. The orange being the sun, but the green, of course, is something that grows. So maybe that's the angle of the dangle here. See, this I bet is Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin crashes. Oh, this one's a crash. Well, it's not really a crash, 15%. But there's what's happening there, look. Oh, and next thing now, crash cash, and they've got this one called Bitcoin Gold. How confusing for the average public. And all the geeks rattle off, they know all about it. It's quite bizarre. But this is your money now. You don't have real money even as paper. I talked about the money to gold, now the money's a code. Advantages, disadvantages there. Of course, they can shut you down. Google's got control of you. They even know how much money you've got, etc. Very easily. There's no privacy with this, no doubt, in certain ways. They just see the transactions you're doing, or, there'd be ways and means. Very interesting days indeed. This has been, of course, huge with the libertarians. And I already saw a thing the other day where they're moving it, not just libertarians now, they were talking about how to expand out of them and they'll only become a small part of it. So that's an interesting part too, isn't it? I can imagine in China, this is going to be massive. This is where its real heartland will be. They love this. And I think the name here really suits the Chinese. I can hear them having struggling Bitcoin. And they go, well, what do you mean? And with this one, they can go, Bitcoin, cash, cash, cash. They love that word cash. That's one word that all Asians I've noticed, they don't know many words in English, but if you say the word cash, they're right onto it. And what's interesting about Bitcoin Cash, you have Bitcoin Cash, sometimes BCH, and sometimes it's BCC. Not a lot makes sense here in this crypto world, that is for certain. And everything's always showing up. One day it's going to be the big down. So be very wary, folks, of anything like this. As you know, the media can just direct the public, and that's what they've been doing. You see, a while back it was in the hands of nerds and just those interested, and they have their own magazines and their own culture controlled the price of it. But now it is being controlled by the New York Times and Time magazine. They can run an article on, say, Ripple tomorrow. Ripple will go up if the article paints it in a good light. But if the article, of course, is damning, Ripple will go down. The media runs everything really, because everybody is just like a sheep when it comes to stories in the media. And they certainly will lead people down a wrong path. They'll have so many correct calls, support this, and off it'll go, and people go, well, gee, the Times or New York Post or whatever, Washington Post, they don't lie. And then there'll be an article one day say, buy this stock, and everybody will rush in, and it'll be broke by lunchtime, and people will forgive the media for that. They just made one mistake. Look how many other things they got right. And they don't realise that's the name of the scam. Just a little bit of truth and a little bit of deception, mix it together and serve it up as a soup.